Have you ever heard a heliosexual just repulsively, egregiously claim that the ether was disproven by the Michelson-Morley experiment? Well, today we're going to completely debunk that theory and that ideology with Einstein himself. Let's first start with the Machian principle. The Machian principle assumes that if the Earth were stationary and the universe were rotating around us, there would be a translation of motion down through the ether in the atmosphere from that shell. Also, guess what? Einstein wrote a letter to Ernst Mach admitting this. Shall we read the letter? If one accelerates a heavy shell of matter and then a mass enclosed by that shell experiences an accelerative force. If one rotates the shell relative to the fixed stars about an axis going through its center, a Coriolis force arises in the interior of the shell. That is, the plane of the Foucault pendulum is dragged around. Next time you hear a heliosexual say that the ether was debunked by either Albert Michelson, Albert Einstein, or any of the other physicists of our past days, read them this quote from Einstein. According to the general theory of relativity, space without ether is unthinkable. For in such space there would not only be no propagation of light, but also no possibility of existence for standards of spacetime and measuring rods and clocks, nor therefore any spacetime intervals in the physical sense. Ether and the Theory of Relativity by Einstein on May 5th, 1920, a talk at the University of Leiden. Also, did you know that the Foucault's pendulum was created in 1851? And then Einstein went on to say, I have come to believe that the motion of the Earth cannot be detected by any optical experiment in 1922. And we still have religious heliosexuals running around saying the Foucault's pendulum proves the Earth is moving. Hey, just so you know before you head out, this observation in and of itself debunks the radius and circumference claim. From a 1-foot observer height, a camera was able to see over 9 miles, necessitating that the Earth's radius be over 200,000 miles. The claimed radius, if you didn't know, is 3,959.
Imagine that you're flying on a sweet-ass airplane about 5 or 6 miles high. You're going across the globe. Watch the sky as it moves vertically over top of you as you go across the globe. And now watch this flight. This is what we experience in real life. We're not on a globe. Nanner.
Congratulations, India, you officially become the 4th biggest liar in history. I have a couple of questions for you. Who is in the moon filming the spacecraft landing? Also, what the hell is that surface? Is it that some kind of mirror? And how exactly the surface seconds later become this? Really? That's the worst Photoshop I ever seen. Also, I wanna ask you what material the spacecraft is made of and what is the maximum speed. There is another photo made from the spacecraft and I wanna ask you, where is the bloody stars? Why is so dark in space? Honestly, I was expecting more from Bollywood.
The sun and the moon are opposite lights. The recorded differences in the temperatures of both prove that the moon is not reflecting the sun. The sun's light is golden, warm, drying, preservative, and antiseptic, while the moon's light is silver, cool, damp, putrefying, and septic. We have abundance of evidence that the sun moves daily round and over the earth in circles concentric with the northern region over which hangs the North Star. But, since the theory of the earth being a globe is necessarily connected with the theory of its motion round the sun in a yearly orbit, it falls to the ground when we bring forward the evidence of which we speak, and, in so doing, forms a proof that the earth is not a globe.
I'm not getting into explaining the flat earth because there are so many people who have already done comprehensive videos that explain every single topic that has to do with how the flat earth actually works inside the toroidal field. And all you have to do is do your own research. You can't argue with someone in TikTok by constantly throwing all of these things out like, well, you can't, obviously on a flat earth, you would have 24 hours of daylight. No, you wouldn't, because the sun spotlights one side of this disk and then moves around to the other side of the disk. There are seasons that are created through the sun spiraling inward and outward. There is a way to explain these things because the flat earth is the original model that was inverted into the heliocentric model. You take something, you flip it inside out, like you take a flat plane and you turn it into a spinning ball that's at an angle on an axis. And then everything revolves around it, and then it revolves around the sun. You see, it's all inverted. So it's not that the flat earth theory is wrong and ridiculous. It's that it is the inversion of the heliocentric model. So you can't prove it wrong. All you can do is go and try to find flaws in one of these two models that will somehow convince everyone that one model is right and one is wrong. Do you understand? Two conventions can explain the same phenomenon. They are inversions of each other. They both use math, logic, reason to explain their theory. But flat earth is not a theory. It's what galaxies are. It's how galaxies are made. They're flat planes. Galaxies are inside of torus fields. The universe is a torus field. So if you accept that and understand that that a galaxy is a flat plane, then you must understand how the flat earth is a flat plane inside of a torus field. It's the exact same thing. It's exactly the same thing. But you haven't done your research, so you don't understand how it works. That's the difference. See, you can sit here and tell me all day long, well, the heliocentric model says blah, blah, blah. Well, I know that. I studied the heliocentric model just like you did. I was taught that in school. So I had to drop my ego and my programming, and I had to go, okay, let's look at the flat earth theory and see what they're trying to say. You can't go, oh, that's stupid, you're ridiculous, and not even research it, because you don't know unless you research it, right? So you need to study it. You need to research it. You cannot expect someone to teach you an entire theory. That's like me teaching you the heliocentric model in a couple of TikTok videos or 2 sentences in the comments section. No, that doesn't work. You got to do your own work. And if you don't want to, don't. It's up to you. But don't think that you can say something like, ships disappear over the horizon because we're on a curve. That just makes you look stupid, because ships disappear for another reason. They go beyond your vision, your point of vision. You know, and if you're 75,000 miles up and the horizon is flat for thousands and thousands of miles, then how do you explain a ship disappearing over the curve 3 miles away from you? Right, you need to think it through. So if you're very genuinely interested in the flat earth theory, then look it up. Look up Eric Debay and Jaredism on YouTube and things like that, and actually research it for yourself. If you're not interested, then I'm begging you as a human being to another human being, don't troll people and throw ridiculous shit out there, because, you know, it's infuriating enough that we're trying to help people understand that the world model was inverted in 1700 by the Jesuits, okay? The Vatican, the people that do terrible things to little children and created mass wars and, you know, murdered billions of people. They're the ones that started this globe concept. when all of the ancient peoples understood what a torus field was. They understood that we were living on a flat plane. They understood the science behind it. Like, they were not stupid, okay? So do some research or don't. But don't harass people. I mean, life is hard enough, right?
I'm about to prove to you that Antarctica is not a continent, and that we're not living on a magical spinning water ball. This is what the Earth actually looks like, and if you look at Antarctica, it's an ice wall that surrounds us, keeping the water in. And by the way, for you science people, this is a scientifically and practically correct map. Not to mention, it's actually the map that is used by every single pilot. Now, how on earth could Antarctica be an ice wall that surrounds us? When we look at the Word of God, it all makes sense. When He prepared the heavens, I was there. When He set a compass upon the face of the depth. In other words, He drew a circle on the face of the deep. The deep is the oceans. Compass also means a range or an enclosing limits of an area. Now let's carry on. So we know that God created a circular boundary upon the face of the ocean. When He gave to the sea His decree that the waters should not pass His commandment. Just look at God's beautiful creation. It is a perfect ice wall boundary that He created to keep the water in. This theory is even backed up by the United Nations official logo. Notice how Antarctica is not anywhere to be seen here. Because it goes around. They're putting it right in your face because they're required to. Why do you think it's called the Antarctica Circle? And if you haven't seen enough yet, if you go into Google Earth and you measure any area using their measuring tool, you will get this perfect little highlighted box around the area that you measured. Right, and it'll tell you the area, the perimeter. But just like I said, they have to put it in your face, so watch what happens when we do that on Antarctica. It doesn't give us a highlighted box, it gives us a long ice wall, a long circle. It's part of God's rules for them to put the truth in your face. Luke 12 verse 3, whatever they've spoken in the ear in the closets, or they've spoken in darkness, or in other words, whatever they speak in secret, it must be proclaimed or shouted upon the housetops. So they have to slip truth in there for you to see. Let me tell y'all something. God's word is true, it's accurate, and it is alive. There is so much information that is hidden from you. Elon, you got some explaining to do, bro. So first off, this is what 666 looks like in Aramaic, which is the language the Bible was written in. We know that 603 score and 6, or 666, is the number of the beast, or the number of the devil, Satan. Alright, so you have the S, you have the 3, or the backwards E, and then you have the X, alright, S-E-X. Alright, if we look at the Tesla models, look, S, then the 3, and then the X. Right, he's just mimicking the 666. Right, if we look at X, the new Twitter logo that Elon created, two of them put together is the Masonic logo, the Freemasons. Elon is a big faker. Look at the SpaceX logo. You see that big curve? They're putting it right in your face. It's because all the SpaceX launches, they literally curve when they go up. They're not going to space, they're just curving. Look at this. That thing is not going to space. We live under God's firmament dome, right? We live here on the flat earth, and then we have God's firmament protecting us from the waters above. Firmament was known by the Hebrews as an extended surface, solid, expanse. Considered by the Hebrews as solid and supporting the waters above. This is the biblical usage of firmament. Not this fake Google definition where they tell you it means the sky. No, it is a literal solid surface that God created to separate the waters above from the waters below. Job 37 verse 18, Hast thou with him spread out the sky which is strong and as a molten looking glass. This is why when all the rockets go up, they curve. Because space is not real. They're fooling you and they want to take you away from the truth, which is God and Jesus Christ. Elon, you are wicked. Ephesians 5 verse 11, and have no kavara, meaning have no fellowship. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but rather condemn them or expose them. Here's Elon with the Antichrist suit on. Yup, it's got the upside down cross on it with the Baphomet head, letting us know who they worship. Don't fall for these fake heroes out here, man. There's only one hero, and it's Jesus.
Does anyone actually still believe that this piece of junk went through a space vacuum 238,000 miles away and landed on the moon? Yeah, this is what NASA is saying landed on the moon. I mean, just look at this thing. It looks like it's made out of cardboard, aluminum foil, and duct tape. That's right, I said duct tape. Remember this goat cart NASA brought to the moon? Yeah, well, they used duct tape to hold it together. You guys don't believe me? Let's ask NASA. NASA themselves said they used duct tape to hold the moon buggy and moon lander together. Not only did this thing land on the moon, it also took off.
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
Who's filming that?
Vector good.
Who stayed to film that? That wasn't the only time they used duct tape. During the Apollo 13 lunar mission on the spacecraft, an oxygen tank exploded. After many hours, the engineers came up with a plan to modify the canisters using duct tape. Guys, shadows don't lie. NASA does. Does anyone else find this a little strange and interesting that rainbows take the shape that they do? It's always curved like a dome. Well, this is how they explain it. The white light comes in to a single drop of rain, refracts, then reflects, then hits your naked eye, causing this. And honestly, it's actually laughable on what mainstream science tells you how rainbows are created. Well, we all know what you really need is you need a prism to create a rainbow effect. You see the white light hitting a straight prism, creating a straight rainbow. So can someone tell me how, when you go outside and you look at a rainbow, it's always arched like a dome? Well, maybe is it because we live under some type of dome or firmament, like all of our ancient ancestors depicted? Now this is Werner von Braun, known as the father of NASA, and on his tombstone he put a Bible verse, Psalms 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Now can someone riddle me this? A guy that started NASA puts a Bible verse on his tombstone that directly contradicts space? Guys, it's time to wake up. The evidence is all around us. Like, just take a look at this. This is the sun reflecting up all sides of the firmament, just like the Sumerians did 3,600 years ago. You can see the rainbow effect here without any rain. Outer space is a made-up fairy tale. The earth is actually flat, and we live under a dome, which is God's firmament. The sun, the moon, and the stars are within this firmament, and on this other side of the firmament is water. We're in Genesis chapter 1, verse 7, and God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And the Hebrew word for firmament is rakia, extended surface, solid expanse, the vault of heaven or firmament regarded by the Hebrews as solid and supporting the waters above it. Now this is how the Hebrews depicted the universe. Not to mention, this is how every ancient culture depicted the universe. And NASA came along saying that we live on a spinning water ball. The reason they put this heliocentric model together was to take you away from God. They want you to believe that you are just some small speck of dust traveling through a space vacuum on a ball spinning that was created from a Big Bang 13 billion years ago. I'm just here to tell you that God's word is true. You are special. You are created in His image. Once again, this space is fake. The only thing that's been to space is your imagination.
The flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Mitri to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.